Hey there, to all the cinephiles out there. I just got out of a screening for The Kingsman, which is the third film in the Kingsman series. This one is a prequel. Talks more about where the Kingsman came from. The Kingsman Secret Service I enjoyed quite a bit. I was a fan of Matthew Vaughn's work, so, I liked Kick-Ass a lot. For a while, it was one of my favorite movies of all time, so The Kingsman was also very enjoyable to me. The sequel, not so much. Was not a big fan of the Golden Circle, and after that, I just thought they went a little too far with everything. Was trying to be more of like a send up to the really cheesy aspects of James Bond, and granted, the Secret Service did that a little bit, but the Golden Circle just kind of pushed it to a whole nother level that I didn't really get into, and I didn't find to be that funny or comical, or it just wasn't really for me at all. Very much the, I guess, Gremlins 2 of the Kingsman universe, but whereas I really like Gremlins 2, didn't really like the Golden Circle. I was kind of excited to see a prequel, especially since it was going to be set during World War I. There's not a lot of movies set during World War I in general, so seeing something like that kind of got my interest. But unfortunately, I do think that this is still kind of on the same level as the Golden Circle. Not for the same reasons, but I just don't find much to see from this film or discuss about this film or really to enjoy. I feel like it's a bit of a mess. The performances are, they're all right. It's always a pleasure to see Ralph Fiennes really do anything. But I don't feel like this movie's still doing much to convince me that The Kingsman is a franchise that we need to see more installments from. And, the prequel aspect of it, it doesn't focus on the, beginnings of The Kingsman as much as you'd think. Instead, it's focusing more on Ralph Fiennes' backstory and his relationship with his son, which, I get that that's kind of a focal point of the story, but I still felt like it was very underwritten. Kind of follows a lot of cliches that you see in a lot of war movies, and it does things that, I'm not very happy with. There's a lot of emotions that I just don't really buy. I feel like the movie kind of it does a cop-out, in a way, to do a cliche that we've seen many times before, and it was just something that I didn't really accept as it was happening. I felt like nothing was really earned. It wasn't as shocking as it probably could have been as far as a twist goes. And, we get into the third act, which I thought the third act was a bit stronger. We actually do see some more action, but surprisingly, there's not a lot of action in this movie. Matthew Vaughn's good at making very intricate, very interesting looking action scenes, and this movie doesn't have a whole lot of action going on. The beginning, the first act, which I just thought was pretty awful, was a whole lot of exposition, just basically about World War I, keeping a lot of the humor that we saw in the Golden Circle. It's very cheesy, cartoonish, and in a sense that I felt that it doesn't fit the tone of what made the first Kingsman so good. So overall, just this movie was very much like a disappointment for the fact that I thought if they did a prequel and they did something about World War I, it could actually maybe reinvigorate the franchise, and it just really doesn't. I will say Rise of Fonz as Rasputin is great. That was the highlight of the movie. But unfortunately, he even is hardly in it, and they get rid of him pretty quickly, and in a way that I also felt like, why did you get rid of that character so fast? The after or mid-credit sequence, anyway, is crazy in the sense that if you watch Marvel movies and you know what to expect from after-credit sequences and how they kind of lead up to other movies, and you see things at the end of the credits, they usually say things like, Doctor Strange will return, stuff like that. This movie has something like that for a historical figure, and it's pretty laughable. It's pretty we're heading into Deadpool 2 territory, but this movie's not Deadpool 2, so I don't know why it's acting this way. I just don't buy the tone of these movies, unfortunately, ever since the first one, which the first one kind of built into this, but at least it was a little more laid back about what it was doing. This one and Golden Circle, not so much. I think it's just going it's a little too loose with everything, and in the end, it just becomes a mess, especially when your story just, I don't think, is as nailed down as it should be, and it's just riddled with a lot of exposition at the beginning that I felt shouldn't be there. I don't think a lot of the exposition was necessary. So, yep, this movie was a disappointment. I waited a while to go and see it, but finally checked it out, and there you go. I hear we'll be getting a third Kingsman movie, in the sense that it will actually be a third film, a sequel to The Golden Circle. We'll see if that ends up happening.